I was sitting in HRS office, hands trembling, watching them scroll through a folder of screenshots I would never seen before, messages I would supposedly sent, complaints I would apparently made, a paper trail that painted me as an unstable, vindictive manager, and every single piece of it had been manufactured by the person I would mentored for 18 months, the woman I would promoted, the direct report I would trusted with everything, including my own insecurities. She sat 3 offices down, and I could feel her watching through the glass. That is when I finally understood. I had not been managing her. She had been managing me the entire time. Maya joined my team as a junior analyst during the worst quarter of my career. I was drowning. My father had just been diagnosed with early-onset dementia. My marriage was fracturing under the weight of 60-hour weeks, and I was running a department of 12 with 0 support from leadership. She seemed like a gift, eager, competent, emotionally intelligent in a way that felt rare in our cutthroat corporate culture. In her first week, she stayed late to help me prepare a board presentation, brought me coffee without being asked, remembered my daughter's name and asked about her dance recital. Small things, human things, I remember thinking. Finally, someone who actually cares about the work and the people doing it. Looking back, the red flags were there from the beginning. The way she would linger after meetings, asking personal questions that felt slightly too probing. How she would mention casually that other team members had been talking about my stress levels. The subtle suggestions that I was too trusting with certain colleagues. At the time, I interpreted it as concern. Loyalty, even. She was looking out for me. By month 3, Maya knew about my father's condition, my husband's emotional distance, my imposter syndrome, my fear that I would have been promoted beyond my competence. I would told her everything. Not in one confession, but in dozens of small moments. Late nights in the office, walks to grab lunch, casual conversations that felt like friendship. I did not realize I was handing her a weapon. The first incident happened 6 months in. I would given Maya a stretch assignment, leading a cross-functional project that would normally go to someone more senior. She would earn it, I thought. She was ready. 2 weeks into the project, my colleague Derek stopped by my office. "Hey, just wanted to give you a heads up," he said, closing the door behind him. "Maya mentioned you have been struggling lately. Said you are going through some family stuff and she is worried about your capacity to support the team." My stomach dropped. She said that. She was concerned, Derek said carefully. "Thought I should know in case you know, in case things slip through the cracks. I confronted Maya that afternoon. She looked at me with wide, wounded eyes. I never said you were struggling. I said you were dealing with a lot, and I wanted to make sure I was stepping up to support you." Derek must have misunderstood. She reached across the table and touched my hand. "I would never undermine you. You know that. You are the only person here who actually sees my potential." I apologized. I actually apologized to her. Went home that night and told my husband I would almost made a terrible mistake, almost accused someone loyal of something awful. Sound familiar? By month 10, the pattern had escalated. I started noticing that colleagues who had been friendly were suddenly distant. Lunches, I was not invited to conversations. That stopped when I walked into the break room. When I asked Maya about it, she had explanations for everything. "Sarah's been weird with everyone lately. I think she is jealous of your promotion. The marketing team has always been cliquey. They are threatened by our results. I heard James telling someone he thinks you are cold. I defended you, obviously, but some people just do not get your style. Every explanation positioned her as my protector and everyone else as a potential threat. Every conversation ended with the same implicit message. I was the only one she could trust, and she was the only one I could trust. The office had become a minefield, and Maya was my only safe passage through it. I stopped going to happy hours, stopped having lunch with colleagues I would known for years. When my friend Lisa from accounting tried to warn me that Maya had been asking questions about my performance reviews, I dismissed it. She is probably just trying to understand the evaluation process, I told Lisa. She is ambitious. That is a good thing. Lisa looked at me like I would lost my mind. We have not spoken since. The crisis came at month 14. I would recommended Maya for a significant raise, one that required VP approval. The meeting was scheduled for a Thursday. On Wednesday night, I got a call from my husband. He would found texts on my work laptop, messages I would supposedly sent to a male colleague, messages that were flirtatious, inappropriate, completely fabricated. My marriage nearly ended that night. I spent hours trying to explain that I had not sent those messages, that someone had accessed my computer, that this did not make any sense. My husband looked at me with something worse than anger. He looked at me like he did not know who I was anymore. I could not prove the messages were fake. I could not prove anything. But I knew, in my gut, in my bones, that Maya had access to my laptop. She would used it dozens of times when hers was updating. She knew my password. She knew my schedule. She knew exactly when I would be away from my desk. When I walked into the office the next morning, Maya was already there. She looked up from her computer with that familiar warm smile. "You okay? You look exhausted. Anything I can do to help?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab her shoulders and demand an explanation. Instead, I heard myself say, "Just a rough night." "I am fine. You worked too hard," she said softly. "You should take care of yourself." "I worry about you." That afternoon, I approved her raise. What Maya did to me has a name, several names actually, and understanding them was the first step toward reclaiming my sanity. The primary tactic was isolation, systematically cutting me off from every support system I had, both professional and personal. This is not accidental. Manipulators understand that humans are social creatures. We rely on outside perspectives to reality, check our experiences. When those perspectives disappear, we become dependent on a single source of truth. Then Maya did not isolate me through obvious aggression. She did it through manufactured concern. Every colleague became a potential threat. Every friendship became a liability. She positioned herself as the only person who truly understood me, truly supported me, truly had my back. By month 10, she was right. She was the only one left. The red flag for isolation is this: when one person in your life consistently has negative things to say about everyone else in your life. Pay attention. When your world shrinks to a single trusted source, that is not intimacy, that is control. The second tactic was selective memory. Maya had an extraordinary ability to forget anything that did not serve her narrative. Promises she would made never happened. Conversations where she would reveal too much. I do not recall saying that. But my mistakes, my vulnerabilities, those she remembered with perfect, weaponizable clarity. This works because it makes you doubt your own perception. If she does not remember the conversation, maybe it did not happen the way you thought. Maybe you misunderstood. Maybe you are the one with the faulty memory. Over time, you stop trusting your own experience. You start deferring to theirs. The red flag: when someone conveniently forgets their commitments but never forgets your failures, you are not dealing with a bad memory. You are dealing with a strategy. Third, DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. Every time I tried to address Maya's behavior, the script flipped. She would deny whatever I would observed, attack my perception or my motives, and then position herself as the victim of my unfair suspicion. I never said you were struggling. Denial. Derek must have misunderstood. Attack on the source. I would never undermine you. You are the only one who sees my potential. Reversal. Now she is the vulnerable one, and I am the threat. DARVO is devastatingly effective because it hijacks your empathy. You came into the conversation with a legitimate concern. You leave it apologizing for having the concern at all. The red flag: if every difficult conversation ends with you feeling guilty for starting it, something is deeply wrong. Finally, emotional blackmail. Maya never threatened me overtly. She did not need to. She would woven herself so deeply into my professional identity that the threat was implicit. If I confronted her, I would lose my only ally. If I reported her, I would look paranoid. After all, she was my star performer, my mentee, my success story. If I pulled back, I would be abandoning someone who had trusted me with her career. The blackmail was not "I will destroy you if you leave." It was "I will be destroyed if you leave." And because I would shared my own fear of abandonment, my own guilt about not being there for people, she knew exactly which buttons to push. The red flag: when someone makes you responsible for their emotional well-being in ways that prevent you from protecting yourself, that is not connection. That is captivity. I wish I could tell you I confronted Maya, and she confessed everything. That HR saw through her manipulation, and she was fired. That I got my reputation back, my friendships back, my peace of mind back. That is not what happened. What happened is that I am still at this company, and so is she. The HR investigation was inconclusive. The fabricated messages could not be definitively traced to her. The colleagues she would turn against me still keep their distance. My husband and I are in couples therapy. rebuilding trust one painful session at a time. Maya got her raise. She got a new title. She got a reputation as a rising star with exceptional emotional intelligence. Sometimes I see her in meetings, charming executives the same way she charmed me, and I feel physically sick. But here is what has changed. I started therapy, individual twice a week, not because I am broken, but because I needed someone outside the situation to help me see it clearly. My therapist introduced me to the gray rock technique, becoming so boring, so unresponsive, so emotionally flat that I am no longer a satisfying target. No more personal conversations with Maya. No more mentoring. No more vulnerability. I document everything now, every interaction, every email, every meeting. I BCC my personal email on anything significant. I have learned that when you are dealing with someone who rewrites history, your only protection is a paper trail. They cannot alter. I have started rebuilding bridges. Slowly, awkwardly. Lisa from accounting and I had coffee last month. I apologized for dismissing her warning. She said she would seen it before. A former boss who had isolated her the same way. We are not close again yet, but we are talking. The hardest part is not the practical stuff. The hardest part is the shame. I was a manager. I was supposed to be the one with power. How did I let someone who reported to me manipulate me so completely? But that is the thing about manipulation. It does not target the weak. It targets the trusting, the empathetic, the people who want to believe the best in others. Those are not weaknesses. They are strengths that got exploited. I am not over it. I do not know if I ever will be, but I am learning to stop blaming myself for someone else's calculated cruelty. If you have recognized yourself in this story, I need you to hear something. It is not your fault. Manipulation works precisely because it targets good qualities. Your trust, your empathy, your desire to help others succeed. You were not stupid. You were not weak. You were human, and someone exploited that. But recognition is the first step toward protection. So here are 3 red flags that cannot be ignored. First, the isolation pattern. If someone in your life consistently positions themselves as your only true ally while finding problems with everyone else around you, that is not loyalty. That is a power grab. Healthy relationships expand your world. Toxic ones shrink it. Second, the memory asymmetry. When someone forgets every promise they have made, but remembers every mistake you have made, they are not forgetful. They are strategic. Your history is being rewritten in real time. Third, the empathy trap. When every attempt to address a problem ends with you apologizing and comforting them, the conversation has been hijacked. Your legitimate concerns are being used as weapons against you. If you are in this situation right now, here are 3 practical steps. Step 1, document everything. Emails, texts, conversations. Write down what happened and when. Your memory is being actively undermined. Create a record that cannot be gaslit. Step 2, reconnect with outside perspectives. Reach out to the people you have lost touch with. You do not have to explain everything immediately. Just start rebuilding the support network that has been systematically dismantled. Step 3, get professional help. A therapist, a coach, an HR professional you trust. Someone outside the manipulation who can help you see the pattern clearly. This is not weakness. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. If you are watching this and thinking that sounds like my situation, I want you to do one thing today, just one. Tell someone you trust what has been happening. Break the isolation. Start the documentation. Take the first step. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. And you are not alone. I am still in the middle of my story. Still learning to set boundaries, still rebuilding what was damaged. But I am no longer in the dark about what happened to me, and that clarity, that understanding, is the foundation everything else gets built on. You deserve that clarity too.